So AEW has just given you a massive problem, my friends. I am sorry to report that. We did have Dynamite last night, and two very specific things happened. And even when I was watching it, I was like, oh man, the discourse online is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And after I'd got my usual thoughts down onto a piece of paper, I don't even know what that means, I did go check it out. And that's right, there were people arguing left, right, and center. But the bottom line is this: there was some magic on last night's show, and it's important that we talk about it. It all comes down to the Continental Classic, because my gosh, do I love the Continental Classic. I talked about this last week, and some people still got mad at me. It's nice and simple. It's like watching the Premier League. I don't want to repeat myself. If you're an NFL fan, there's two leagues in the flipping NFL. I just love competitors that have something to win. The stake is winning the whole damn thing. I understand the title situation is a little bit weird, but you want to win it because of pride. You want to win it because that's what sports people do. But the league, the point system, and the fact that Tony Khan has booked this, so we do get surprises all of the time, it just makes it wonderful. Now, hopefully, we actually get some non-surprises for a couple of weeks, so that makes the surprises even better. But Mike Bailey versus Kyle Fletcher, I think, is probably the best TV match we have had all year. I don't like saying it like that because, one, recency bias, but also it depends what you want from professional wrestling. And I hear sometimes other people saying, oh, this guy is definitively the best wrestler in the world. No, they're not, because what they're doing may not actually speak to your personal wrestling taste. So I think it's always important to caveat that. But when I was watching it, in terms of the confines that it was presented to me as well, it's a sports league. They're trying to get 3 points. They don't want to win. Anybody can get the victory. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fantastic. And obviously, pro wrestling in the modern day has gone to a certain area, and some people are into it and some people aren't. AEW obviously showcases it a little bit more than other promotions, because especially someone like WWE, and thank goodness for this, because it makes them feel individual. WWE has a very specific style, which actually has also evolved a lot this year, if you go through some of the matches. But this was fast, the Mike Bailey-Carl Fletcher match, that is. It was fast, it was well-timed, it had jeopardy. At one point, I think the fans were so enjoying it, they decided they were going to treat them both as baby faces, and Carl Fletcher, this is a good professional work, was like, no, I'm going to be the heel here. So started being a mega asshole. And the stretch at the end, I mean, it got me twice. First of all, when Mike Bailey kicked out of the Brainbuster after a crazy sequence from Carl Fletcher, including that horrendous powerbomb into the apron, I literally felt it in my bones. Like, well, there we go. He's going to get the victory. Makes sense, because Carl Fletcher's going to have a massive 2026. And he's had an awesome 2025. And even when Mike Bailey kicked out, I was a bit like, tee-hee-hee. I'm glad we did that, because now we can just hit another Brainbuster. Let's try and protect Mike Bailey, but no. He reversed it into the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment. He got the 1, 2, 3, and it genuinely got me, right? Even though we've had other surprises in this tournament already, and we've done that over the years as well, I looked around, especially when Kevin Knight ran out to celebrate with his partner, and I was like, hot damn, isn't it amazing that I can be watching wrestling for, 2 decades or more than that now, and still be, I don't want to use the term worked, because, well, I guess you can use that term, why the hell not? But just to be on the cusp of not knowing, then think I was knowing, and then telling I didn't know. And I think it did a world of good for Mike Bailey. And again, because Carl Fletcher's performance was so good, I don't think it hurts him. And actually, one of my biggest pet peeves I've realized, a brand new pet peeve for me, is this fear that some wrestling companies have, and wrestling fans. We saw it with LA Knight on Raw. If somebody loses, oh my gosh, what an absolute loser they are, ironically. Like, they suck now, they've been buried. People lose all the time. They live in sports, they lose in real life. It's the aftermath. It's what happened next. If we never see LA Knight again and he comes back and he's in like tattered clothes going, I don't even want to fight for the 24/7 title anymore, we are in trouble, especially because the 24/7 title went away years ago. But I imagine he's going to come back with a vengeance and be one of the biggest baby faces on Raw, which is awesome. And here, Carl Fletcher getting beat, I guess you could call it from an out of nowhere maneuver, it just worked perfectly. And Mike Bailey should be able to sail through this. You just absolutely have to have it in a league setting, otherwise the points mean nothing. If all the people you expect to win get 3.3 points. It's like when you do have a boring Premier League over here in soccer football world, after a while you get to like March and people aren't even cared to wait till May now. I know what's going to happen. But when it keeps you on your tootsie toes and you do have to keep guessing, I just thought this was tremendous. And the time to the YouTube title, I just knew it. I just knew some people were going to try and have a problem with this. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm not saying you don't have to like it. But when you get people saying, oh, they didn't sell, they didn't do this, they were doing those things. And also, there is a market for this type of wrestling. You don't get on international television if some people aren't buying your product. And I understand they're not as big as WWE. That's not what I'm talking about. I need alternatives and I need differences, which actually is going to tie into something else I'm going to talk about right after this in just 1 second. It just felt like something you could only see in 2025. I just thought it was awesome. I just thought it was great. I do think Carl Fletcher is going to be one of the stars in 2026 for AEW. I think he'll probably have a world title reign. That may bleed into 2027, but people were cheering him here, right? They're on board. They want to see this guy succeed. And it's the same for Mike Bailey, but he hasn't obviously had the big old push that Carl Fletcher had in 2025. He's been amazing, and Jet Speed have been brilliant. He's been a really good hire. I remember when he first went in there, some people were like, oh man, he's going to vanish into the abyss, like some people do, to your credit. Not at all, man. He has taken his unique offense and his very original style, and he's made it work for him. It was just 2 people fighting for 3 points. That was the story. I was so into it, right? That's what I realized. I don't even know how long this went. It could have been 35 minutes. It could have been 8 minutes. I was just totally invested. And that last 5-minute stretch or whatever it was, genuinely, I think it's the best television match of the year. I need to sit down and actually go through matches, because sometimes we say these things and some people, what about this that happened in February? Like, I don't remember February. I can't remember what happened last week, but this would be up there for me. And maybe we'll do that kind of video. I've got all my end of year videos that I'm planning now. I thought it was tremendous. And once again, you can think it's a pile of pap, but don't start making stuff up, right? That's what I mean by the problem. Don't start being like, oh, this is crap, and you know what's crap. There's clearly some good to this. Otherwise, it wouldn't be receiving a lot of praise. And I saw a lot of that praise on social media and other things that I do check out. I thought it was wonderful. On the off chance that Carl Fletcher and Mike Bailey do watch this, couple of thumbs up. It's kind of cool for me to talk about because I've shared locker rooms with both these guys a long old time. It was probably like 2018 and 2019, maybe 2020. So I haven't seen them in years. Actually, that's true. I saw Mike Bailey backstage at 2024 show. I was at, so that was super cool. I mean, they are great guys. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't get on with them or anything. I do like them a lot, but that's neither here nor there. I thought it was brilliant. I guess in a way it was unexpected because I knew it would be good, but it completely surpassed whatever expectation level I did have. 5 stars, 6.25 stars in the Tokyo Dome, or a golden up, which I did personally give on Ups and Downs over on What Culture Wrestling, which you can check out. I don't have any notes, just somehow go and do it again. And the really thing I enjoyed is that soon after this was Eddie Kingston versus Samoa Joe. And it was the complete antithesis. Like, it was still an amazing match, but this felt like 2 dudes that wanted to actually bloody each other up and kill each other. They didn't like each other. There wasn't any shenanigans, even though it wasn't a C2 match. Like, Hook got sent to the back pretty early on. And the finish of this too ties into another pet peeve I have because I'm becoming a cynical old man. But for some reason, and actually this could tie into the problem idea as well, people think it's a problem when somebody taps out. Like, you get in some kind of hold these days, and you're a babyface, you're expected to pass out. Now, actually, a lot of this is on WWE and AEW, who have over-relied on that. And I do understand why you want to do it. It can be very emotional. He held on so much. It goes back to Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13. I'm sure there are examples even before that as well. And I know whether this was an Eddie Kingston idea or a Samoa Joe idea, but the way they did it made it even better. Because if you watch quote-unquote real fighting, MMA or whatever, when people get choked out, they don't want to pass out. That's why a lot of them tap, because they're so aware of what a move can do and the danger they're in. They'll be like, well, I want to fight for another day, so I'll tap out. I can't get out of this. You don't want to pass out as a human being. That's very detrimental to you as somebody who wants to exist on this earth. That's what the tap out is there for, so I don't suffer any extra damage. And that's because there is emotion in UFC, MMA, but it comes at it from a different point of view. The stories are also more organic. But here, I kind of felt like that came across too. Like, Eddie Kingston was trying not to fall asleep. He was trying to stay awake. When he realized there's nothing I can do here, and he gives that light kind of tap out to tell the referee that I can't go on. To me, that's even better, especially because when somebody does pass out, I think that should be the exception, not the rule. So when it does do it, you can have the commentators going, oh my gosh, he tried so hard. When everyone does that, it's like, all right. It's like when people run in all the time. You have a big heel group that's like, oh, they're so dastardly. They keep doing distractions, interference, and confusion. If everybody does, it's like, well, they're not dastardly. They're not just doing what everybody else does. Like, who even cares? I just thought this was awesome. Daniel Bryan, why do you call him Daniel Bryan? Bryan Danielson on commentary shouting out, it was Samoa Joe, the one that we wanted from the indie scene. And there's an amazing video you can check out with Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson after this, which actually ties into their overall story. I never actually thought that Eddie Kingston was going to win because the world title was on the line, but a big enough part of me believed. And actually, it's a very similar story to Carl Fletcher. Eddie Kingston should win that belt one day. And he's such a sympathetic character. He could lose it in 24 hours. And that would actually benefit him even more. But to have these 2 matches back to back, if I was going to tell you to pick one, maybe it would be Mike Bailey and Carl Fletcher, just because, again, the curve smashed through the window. Whereas I knew this one was going to be good. And sometimes that does damp your not enjoyment, because I absolutely loved it. Hope you know what I'm saying here. But they are 2. I mean, it was like a pay-per-view. I know it was called Winter is Coming, but you could have smashed this on any pay-per-view at any time this year and people would have gone mad for it. And we got it on free TV. But Samoa Joe is just a modern day GOAT. He's in Kevin Owens territory for me. Like, thank Fluppins these 2 people were part of the industry the past 20 years, because where would be otherwise? And Eddie Kingston just doesn't act like wrestling is predetermined. He did this promo earlier too. The Samoa Joe promo was really good as well, but he is just a real dude. He's honest and he's genuine. And I think that's why a lot of people do want him to win the World Championship, because it's going to make them feel good, which is what wrestling is all about. Two great matches, so damn good, and it left me feeling pumped up for Collision and Dynamite next week and whatever we could do. Small caveat, I don't think Hooker's involved enough in what we're doing. He kind of comes and goes. I think he needed to cut a bigger promo than just sort of one line that he did 1 or 2 weeks ago. But let's not focus on the negatives. I do think we do need to do more with Hook. I think a heel turn should always be a reason for you to sort of grow as a character and grow as a performer, which he can do, but you need the time to do it. We'll wait and see. But in terms of these matches, I had such a good time, man. Do I love professional wrestling? Yes, I do. And it's actually the same at the start of the show, because we kicked off with the Babes of Wrath taking on the Timeless Love Bombs, and now Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale are the brand new Women's Tag Team Champions. Well, you couldn't go wrong here. This is why I understand booking babyface versus babyface brings up its own problems, but whoever won, you can like, sweet, what a wonderful day that I'm having. But giving it to Willow and Harlow, I think, was the right idea. Timeless Toni Storm is going to be a massive star in AEW till the cows come home, and everybody else here is as well, but I would argue that Toni is on top of them just because she had that awesome Women's World Championship run. Harley Cameron and Willow Nightingale within AEW are now written into history. Their promo afterwards was like, super, I can't believe it, we did it. No shenanigans here too. I mean, Willow did kill Toni Storm on the outside, and we made sure to heat Mina Shirakawa with both of their finishes to really underline the fact she got totally murked. The fact they hugged afterwards too, that's a rare thing that you see in pro wrestling, because usually it is bad guy versus good guy. Once again, it just worked. It just ticked a bunch of boxes. And it was the same when Mark Briscoe came out too. There was a lot of genuinity, that's not a word, a lot of genuineness on this episode of Dynamite. I will admit that the Daniel Garcia feud at the moment isn't setting my world on fire. They had a small tet-for-tet here, and I think the match is happening on Collision, which, by the way, is going down in Cardiff, way United Kingdom, which is where I live, which is a stupid thing to say. Who actually cares where you're located right now? But that could probably use some more oomph. I'll throw it in there, otherwise I don't think I'll talk about it anywhere else. But I've really enjoyed this women's tournament. I think, yes, it probably would have been better if it had ended before the C2 started. I just think you want to sort of block off those tournaments, but it hasn't made a huge detrimental difference at all. And I'm excited to see what Harley and Willow can do. Now you can put them against the proper bad guys. Now we can get into sort of the promoing and the storying and the angles. And women's tag team wrestling right now in North America is doing really, really well. I love what WWE is doing. I'm super pumped to see what AEW is going to do. And as long as these belts do stay on TV, they don't vanish into the abyss, which has happened before, I think it's going to be a very exciting future. Always had such a fun brawl with Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland taking on Shibata and Will Hobbs. I'm just going to repeat myself. Don't understand why Hook isn't in this. Hook's just like, nah, man, I can't be bothered, which kind of does tie into his character. There was definitely some issues with the rules. It was meant to be a tornado tag. They had this awesome brawl beforehand. It was excellent. And Hangman Adam Page was hitting people with Christmas trees. I did some ups and downs, but I'm going to do it here too.
Rolling around the outside, the ballroom's up, going with him.
That's right. That's my last match of Progress, where I hit Charlie Sterling with a Christmas tree, which was also a wild brawl. And you can go check that out on Hooked On Wrestling right now. Type in Hooked On Wrestling into Google and sign up to their streaming service. Some people said they thought it was my best match ever, so I feel very warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum about that. But that kind of set the scene for what they were doing. Then they got in the ring. I think it was Hangman was going to use a chair, and the referee went, no, you can't. And the commentator said, okay, we get it. It's a tornado match, but disqualifications are there. Then later on, Shibata whammed, I think it was Hangman again, whoever, right in the balls. And the referee's back was turned, but the commentators then went, well, anything goes. What is it? Which one is it? But I actually quite like the idea of using all these weapons, then when the bell goes ding ding, you can't. It's a minor quibble, but I throw it out there. But Hangman and Swerve work so well together. Bless Bryan Danielson for reminding us, by the way, they don't like each other, and they're doing this for a greater cause. They really do come off like main event players, and Swerve Strickland now is like mega jacked. Still doing the moves that he used to do. I don't know whether he should stop that or not. I think he should keep doing everything. Hangman is just the best and promised to go after Samoa Joe later. And we did sort of go out of our way to make sure that Hobbs and Shibata was protected too, because they clashed into each other, because that was what happens, and we threw Powerhouse Hobbs through a table, and Shibata took both finishes, right? He took the buckshot and he took the house call. That is correct. And obviously this is Hangman Adam Page's pathway back to Samoa Joe, but surely at some point Swerve Strickland does turn around and says, no, you're not allowed to do that, bro. I want the World Championship too, which would create an even more interesting dynamic between these people. I think Swerve is taking on Josh Alexander this weekend. I think Josh Alexander was watching on during all of this. But this is why this episode of Dynamite was just so damn fun. You had this, which was a wild, crazy brawl. Then you had the sort of more modern match. Then you had the sort of personal, oh man, we're going to get right in the doldrums match. I really had a good time. Which was to say with Jack Perry versus Okada, very sadly Darby Allin is out the C2 because he's injured. If Darby Allin is being kept out of wrestling, my gosh, I hope he's okay. Okada was always going to win this, and he did. But it also tied into the whole Elite taking on the Don Callis family thing, because Don Callis is like, oh man, Jungle Boy, you got to join, I'll give you the money, and then everyone came out, Luchasaurus, etc. Basically, next week in Manchester, it is Hechicero Takeshita, who actually took a super kick for Don Callis, he saved him, and Okada, taking on the Elite. The Young Bucks went and found Omega, and they were like, come and join us as our third person. So that's pretty cool, because it means in 2026, you're going to get the OGs back together. They're probably wrangling Hangman at some point too. And why the flub not? Like, we do not know how much longer Kenny Omega has. He's quite clearly suffering from his diverticulitis, which he has said on many an interview. And let's not pretend that Kenny Omega wasn't a game-changer wrestler, one of the best wrestlers of all time. So whatever we got to do to protect him is what we should do, because wrestling is the most important of the least important things. I think we need to do more Chris Statlander, just to make sure I get all my points out there as well. She was involved in a backstage fight, essentially, and we're doing a big, I think it's a normal tag. It's Chris and someone taking on, it's Chris Statlander and Jamie Hayter taking on the Triangle of Madness, but two of them. So the Square of Madness, that doesn't work. You know what I'm talking about. I think she needs to be in a big feud, which hopefully will be Jamie Hayter, let them cut some promos and things like that. And yes, a few wishy-washy things with sort of the structure of the show. But I thought it was really good. I love this Continental Classic. I really like the World Championship match. Whoever's decision it was to put it on Samoa Joe is great. I think at World's End, MJF is going to come back. I don't know that. Pure speculation on my end. But that really sort of lights up the main event scene too, especially if you've got Hangman, you've got Swerve, you've got Samoa Joe, you've got MJF, and probably other people I'm not even thinking about right now, especially when Will Ospreay comes back, which to be fair is not going to be for a while. Just a great way to sort of, as we head towards the end of the year, to remind you that thank goodness we have AEW was the thing I said earlier. I'll say it again here. I cannot think of any other television show that would have main evented with Eddie Kingston versus Samoa Joe. If you are aware of their origins within the wrestling industry, to go from there, to go here, and put on a match like this that was so damn well received, I'm a happy man. I really, really am. And listen, this isn't going to change anybody else's mind. If you're not into AEW, you're still not going to go into AEW. But there is something about the C2 that really kind of, I don't know, it adds something very unique to AEW, which I then think bleeds out into everything else you see on the episode. I had a very good time. Now, you may disagree with this, which you're allowed to do. You can do it in the comments below. You can like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also go to patreon.com/Simon316 to join my watch-alongs. That match is going to be up there in its entirety. We're going to react to it together, so you can watch it that way too. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. You go to Simon to get 10% off. I wouldn't pimp these out, but I use them. They're fitness supplements that are good. Simon316 on social media, and then there's Cameo, there's TikTok, and there's Pro Wrestling Tees. Getting loads of cameos at the moment. I'm going to do them all today. So if you would like a happy holiday message for your loved one or your hated one, I can do that for you. A random message from a bald a-hole, but why the hell not? Otherwise, have a terrific day, my friends. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll be back at the weekend to talk about John Cena retiring. We're gonna cry. Goodbye.